Hey, another year of Fan Expo is over, and well, I hope you enjoyed the limited amount of footage I picked up. Even though I was there for 4 days, I missed out on a lot of stuff. I missed out on a lot of panels. I missed out on Q&As. The first panel I went to, I didn't even shoot it. It was, I don't know, I wasn't on the ball. I was late to some panels. It was so busy, and I didn't have the kind of funds this year that I would have liked to have had. I could have easily have spent $10,000 there, but more along the line, I usually drop about $500 at Fan Expo on top of the tickets and the food and stuff like that. This year, I hardly bought any food, simply because I was trying to save money for whatever else I could get. And so it was definitely a much cheaper Fan Expo than is normal, for me at least. But let's get on with the pickups, because as with any Fan Expo, there are a lot of pickups. Some of it's, I purchase, some of it is free swag, and sometimes you just win stuff. So, yeah, it's a combination of all sorts of different things. So, there are a few things that I knew that were going to be at Fan Expo that were either exclusives or were things that were coming out. Well, they in a sense were exclusives. And so the first thing I did was head over to the Indie Can Entertainment, the Unstable Ground booth, which I know one of the guys who works there, simply because they had a Blu-ray that they were selling at Fan Expo that isn't coming out until, I think it's the end of September. And it's one that I've talked about before. I saw the movie almost a year ago, and I highly recommend anybody out there, if you're into movies that are a little different, definitely check it out. And that is Motivational Growth by director Don Thacker, and it stars Jeffrey Combs as the mold. It's this thing here. It's a giant mold growth in the guy's bathroom that talks, and it is like, well, here, ain't it cool news? It is unlike anything you've seen before, and that is the truth. Don Thacker is a guy to look out for. He's got the energy of an energy drink. He does. Your friends when they get a little bit tipsy and they talk a lot? That's what Don Thacker is like all the time. He is a wealth of knowledge and just go. So if you ever get a chance to meet Don, wow, just say and talk science. He loves science. Get into science with him. Get into movies with him. He will talk forever, and he loves to talk. He loves people. He's very, very personable, and he knows what he's doing. He has the knowledge there. And he's somebody to look forward to in the future. And this movie just proves it. It's completely, it's a kind of movie you don't normally try and make to get into the business, simply because it is so left field, but at the same time, it worked for him because he's just that good. So I had to pick up Motivational Growth, because I could get it earlier. I also picked up a movie. I've never seen it. I saw the trailers and I wasn't too sure about it, but whatever. I'm supporting, independent distributors, and that's Junkie on Blu-ray. I can't really say much about it. I don't know anything about it. So I also picked up the DVD for Solo, and I picked this up simply because this is a Canadian horror film. I've seen it. I honestly don't think it's very good, but it's another one of those things where it's funny. The actors are decent. The the look of the film is really good. It looks quite good considering how, the type of budget that was in it. But unfortunately, the director and the writer just they didn't come together. Well, it's the same guy, I think, but they didn't really. The idea was there. There was potential, but they didn't make it work. The tension not there, the thrills not there, and the scares as a result aren't there. Really, it starts becoming a film that's quite not. You can't believe it as an audience. So you're just like, okay, great. Why is this even happening? This doesn't make any sense. And unfortunately, because you're not invested in the film, it doesn't work. And while I was there, it's funny. One of the other gentlemen who works for the distribution company came over, and he was like, we were talking a little bit back and forth, and he asked me, "Do you like what do you normally watch? Do you like comedies?" And I was like, honestly, I don't care much for most comedies because I don't find them funny. He's like, really? I was like, because most people, general audience, they love comedies. Comedies are like great money makers, and a really well done comedy can become a huge hit. But for me, for the most part, they just don't work. You know what? I do like some comedies. Porky's. I love Porky's. Christmas Story, Animal House, Zoolander, American Pie. These are movies that I enjoy, and I tend to gravitate more towards the really off the wall, stupid comedy, because the rest of it I look at it and I go, why is this funny? This is how I've seen so many movies. Was it Old School? Is that Will Ferrell movie when he goes back to college? And I know so many people who thought it was hilarious. Mind you, none of them went to university. None of them went to college. And they asked me why I didn't find it funny. It was like, because I've done what you saw in the movie, I've lived. It's not funny. It's fun to do. It is fun, but not funny. See, because I lived it. I've done all this crazy stuff. So why is that funny? And so when this guy, this producer asked me about, comedies and stuff, it's like, I just don't find them funny. I find them, what other people are finding funny, I find to be, regular everyday life. I find more things in my everyday life to be funny than there are things in most comedies. So it was kind of weird when he handed me Sex After Kids. And I said, yeah, I asked, my friend Justin about it, and he hadn't seen it yet. So he was like, well, here, you take the DVD, no charge, let me know what you think. And well, I've opened it, I watched it last night, and I laughed twice. And honestly, the two moments I laughed were the two moments in this film that are the least likely to happen in real life. Yeah, they are just the most absurd portions of the film and completely out of context of the rest of it. The rest of the film, I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay, so why is this funny? Doesn't that normally, doesn't that happen all the time? I don't know. So, yeah, Sex After Kids, I know people who do enjoy this film, but for me, I just didn't find it funny. There are characters in this movie I was like, why are they in there? You didn't need them. They were a waste of screen time. And yeah, so I mean, there's just stuff in here. It's like, I don't know. I don't have kids. I'm not married, so maybe that was the thing. And I'm looking at it going, well, I expect these things to happen if I was married with kids. I know people, and it's like, yeah, it's hard to get the romance. It's hard to get the sex drive going. It's you may find that you only have 5 minutes in the middle of nowhere where you're just like, okay, I guess if we're going to have sex, it's right now, and just stuff like that. And that kind of joke has been done so many times that it's whatever. So anyways, moving on. There was a DVD that was coming out. They were having a special limited edition release at the show, and it's friends of mine who actually made the movie. I went to school with them, so I had to pick it up, and so I headed over to the Black Fawn distribution booth, which is a Canadian, essentially they just do horror, though I did ask them and they said, well, you know what, we're going to be horror, we're going to mostly do horror, but if something comes along that, you know, isn't horror and we think we can make money off of it, and I was like, well, obviously if you can make money off of it, why not, right? But I had to pick up the Silent Retreat. Again, I think the movie had potential, but it's really, the problem with this one is it's two movies in one. It's the whole, you know, keeping girls down and silencing them and not letting them have a voice program, and then there's this creature feature thing going on the side, and I get why they're there, I get why they were put together, I think they should have been two separate movies and it would have been so much better. But yeah, the only thing that makes this the limited edition is the fact that it has a red case. So the only place you're supposed to be able to get this was at the convention, which meant that you could also get signatures and stuff like that. So I picked this up on the Thursday, and the only person there to do autographs was Robert Hall. So he's up here, he's the doctor, and he's actually, you wouldn't know him, but he this is here right there. But he's actually he's a really good actor. Sometimes he's a little over the top, but I think he's one of those guys where I wish he got more work, because I think he has potential to really do some great things. Then on, I think it was Friday, I went back and got the director, who is my friend Trisha Lee. Her autograph's down here, and also who else did I get? Oh yeah, it was Chelsea Janesh, who is essentially the main female character in the film. And it was funny when she signed her name. She's like, do you want me to write Janie on it? I was like, it's your autograph. How do you sign it? I don't know that she had signed anything before. So yeah, so I got all those three. I think they were the only three there. I'm also friends with the writer, so I'm gonna get him to sign it eventually. But yeah, Silent Retreat. Video on demand it. I'm sure it's on video on demand. Check it out at least. I say that because they are my friends, but check it out. If you like it, awesome. If you don't come crying to me. That's why I said video on demand. You didn't need to buy it. What you do need to buy, though, is, and I haven't seen this movie, but it's The Legend of the Psychotic Forest Ranger, simply because of that cover. Look at that cover. Awesome. I just love that cover. That's the reason why. Well, I actually bought everything they had from Black Fawn Distribution. I had been meaning to, simply because they are a very small distribution company and they're picking up a lot of small movies that you won't get from anywhere else. Something like, what is this? If a Tree Falls. This was played at Fantasia. I did not see it, so I can't tell you anything. But I'm looking forward to see it. One that I am really looking forward to, the name is awesome, the poster work is pretty cool, and that's Disco Path. You can see this, he's got his face and it's sort of like a disco ball and shattered. It shows up a lot better on the poster, and you can see what, he was made for loving you. Get your disco kiss out to figure out what that is from. They also had this movie here. It's called Devil's Night, and it stars Danielle Harris. You know, everybody who's into horror knows who that is. And then I also picked up, this one I think I have to get another copy of this from the American distributor because I also know them. But it's the movie In the House of the Flies. Here's their version, their cover. Like the American version uses this as the artwork. But yeah, I've been told this film is definitely something to check out. if you like something that's a little offbeat. And I mean, look at how many festivals it's played, right? So clearly people wanted to show it off. But yeah, what else did I do? On Thursday I also picked up an autograph, and that was this was the Q&A that I didn't shoot. That's Mr. Darth Maul himself, Ray Park. It'll go on my my Star Wars autograph wall with all my other Star Wars people. And then I think that was it for Thursday. So let's get on to Friday. No, that wasn't it for Thursday, because Thursday I also got the autograph of John Saxon. The guy is really old, so if he's at any convention that it's in your area and you want to get his autograph, do it, because I don't know how long he's going to be around. His signature is already very sketchy, but I got him to sign my Nightmare on Elm Street poster, so I'm not going to show it to you. I already had Wes Craven, Robert Englund, and Heather Langenkamp's signatures on that. Robert Englund and Heather Langenkamp were both at the convention as well, so I didn't need to get their autographs again. But John Saxon was there, and he's been there before. I think, I could be wrong, but I think he's been there before, and I just keep forgetting to get his autograph. Though I could be wrong. If he's never been there before, then disregard what I just said. But yeah, let's get on to Friday and what I did on Friday. Completely forgot. Also, also on Thursday, from Black Fawn Distribution, I also picked up the Silent Retreat poster, free. And here's the Disco Path poster I was talking about. It's a lot bigger so you can see it better. So I picked those up. And yeah, awesome.